Ash, Misty, and Brock arrive at Scissor Street. Ash questions why they're there, and Misty reminds him that it's also known as Breeder's Lane. Brock is looking for a specific store, where some of the best Pokémon breeder shops, beauty salons, and fashion stores for Pokémon are located. After a quick explanation, Misty rushes to a store called Rocket Salon, where Jessie and James are working as stylists, making extravagant changes to a Raichu and a Dodrio. As a customer leaves the store, Meowth counts the money but complains about advertising expenses. Jessie explains that the more advertising, the more clients they will have, and the more they will spend on their Pokémon. Outside the salon, Brock finds the store he was looking for, a less flashy one. Inside, they find Susie massaging a Chansey. Misty is intrigued by a sleeping Vulpix and picks it up, but ends up being hit by a flame it releases. Susie explains that Vulpix doesn't like being touched by strangers. Brock, embarrassed, reveals his desire to be Susie's apprentice. While drinking tea, Susie compliments Pikachu's fur and asks if Brock's food is the reason. Susie explains that she got into Pokémon breeding because of her interest in Pokémon nutrition. Misty asks about the new Pokémon fashion, and Susie says that since the Rocket Salon opened, people are more concerned with their Pokémon's outward appearance than their inner well-being. Misty decides to take Psyduck to the Rocket Salon for a makeover but ends up being captured by Team Rocket. Psyduck runs back to Susie's store and warns Ash and Brock of the danger. They rush to the Rocket Salon and confront Jessie and James, who have transformed the salon into a battlefield. Despite Ekans and coughing, both dressed extravagantly, initially managing to dodge attacks from Pikachu and Geodude, Vulpix intervenes and uses the Fire Spin attack, defeating Team Rocket. The crowd, inspired by Brock's words, begins to remove the ornaments and makeup from their Pokémon. Back at Susie's store, she thanks Ash and his friends for helping her regain confidence in her methods. Impressed with Brock's care for Pokémon, Susie decides to entrust Vulpix to him. They say goodbye to Susie and continue their journey. On their way, they see something approaching and, as it gets closer, the figure of a Hitmonchan is revealed. It stops near a tree, while a girl watches the trainer following the Hitmonchan. Ash and the others are surprised, thinking it's a wild Hitmonchan. Ash tells Pikachu that if he can defeat Hitmonchan, he'll become a world champion Pokémon. Pikachu, however, imagines himself being beaten up. Ash decides to teach Pikachu his secret boxing technique. Ash challenges Hitmonchan to a battle against Pikachu, who wears boxing gloves. Hitmonchan accepts, and Ash demonstrates boxing moves to Pikachu. Brock and Misty watch as Ash gives orders. Pikachu lands a hit on Hitmonchan's face, who rubs the spot and scares Pikachu. A man appears and tells Hitmonchan not to let his guard down and knock out the opposing Pokémon. Hitmonchan knocks out Pikachu. Ash is disappointed to learn that Hitmonchan wasn't wild. The girl who was behind the tree, Rebecca, asks the man, her father Anthony, to come home and stop trying to become a Pokémon boxing trainer. Anthony insists that he won't stop until he becomes the P1 Grand Prix champion and says he'll be at his gym before leaving. Ash and the others discover that Anthony is determined to win the P1 Grand Prix and has abandoned his family. Wanting to help Rebecca, Brock and Ash offer assistance, saying Geodude and Primeape will defeat Anthony and his Hitmonchan, making him come to his senses. Meanwhile, Team Rocket also learns of the Grand Prix and decides to participate to win the belt and the prize. James and Meowth are more interested in the all-you-can-eat buffet prize, which annoys Jessie. They realize that only fighting-type Pokémon can participate, so Jessie decides to borrow one. They see a tall man with a Hitmonlee, which James identifies as the Kicking Demon. At the P1 Grand Prix, all the competitors are ready. The first battle is between a Machop and Ash's Primeape. Primeape refuses to obey Ash until it is thrown out of the ring by a seismic move from Machop. Ash saves it and asks if it's okay. Primeape looks at Ash sadly and then jumps back into the ring. Now obeying Ash, Primeape takes control of the fight and defeats Machop with the moves Fury Swipes and Mega Kick. The next fight is between Hitmonlee and Geodude. Brock is supported by Rebecca but is hit in the head by his own Pokémon. He orders Geodude back into the ring, but Anthony advises him to admit defeat. Brock gives up and apologizes to Geodude. Ash promises that he and Primeape will take care of the tournament from that point on. Ash and Primeape become finalists as the battles progress. The other finalist is decided between Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee. Jessie is ready for anything and, to ensure victory, Meowth pours glue in Hitmonchan's corner. Hitmonchan gets stuck, and Anthony is forced to forfeit. He says he's sorry and worried about Rebecca and her mother. Misty comments that the fight has brought the family back together. The final is between Ash's Primeape and the Hitmonlee stolen by Team Rocket. Hitmonlee unleashes a series of blows on Primeape, who holds firm. Meowth tries to cheat again, but Pikachu sees him and acts. It is believed Meowth planted a bomb under the ring. Meanwhile, in the fight, Hitmonlee jumps. As planned, Meowth presses the button on the remote, but the bomb doesn't explode, as Pikachu deactivated it. Hitmonlee falls, and Primeape grabs him. He uses a seismic move and wins the fight. Primeape becomes the new P1 Grand Prix champion. Ash says he is proud of Primeape. Anthony comments that he has a lot of natural talent and asks if he can keep him for training, while Team Rocket wonders why they failed. Pikachu hands the bomb to them after reactivating it, causing them to blast off. Ash wins the championship and leaves his Primeape with Anthony for training. He promises to come back and pick him up one day. Ash, Misty, and Brock walk through Grimy City, a highly polluted city due to its many factories. Ash's Pikachu becomes sick and is taken to the Pokémon Center. Team Rocket's Meowth, secretly watching, plans to capture Pikachu but his plans fail. Nurse Joy diagnoses Pikachu with a common cold and suggests that the group stay overnight at the Pokémon Center. Meanwhile, a group of Grimer blocks the water flow to the hydroelectric plant, causing blackouts in the city. Concerned for the Pokémon in the ICU of the Pokémon Center, Ash, Misty, and Brock decide to go to the power plant to solve the problem. Pikachu, fearing being left behind, follows the group. On the way, a Magnemite falls in love with Pikachu. Arriving at the power plant, the group encounters the Grimer and a leader Mook. They take refuge in the control room with two power plant workers and try to find a solution to the Grimer problem. When the Grimer break down the door, Pikachu and Magnemite confront them together, using their electric attacks. Magneton, the evolution of Magnemite, joins the battle and helps drive away the Grimer, restoring power to the city. However, the leader Mook remains and is defeated by Pikachu and Magnemite. Ash captures Mook and the group leaves the power plant. One of the workers explains that Pikachu had become magnetized by accumulating too much electricity, which caused Magnemite to fall in love with him. With Pikachu demagnetized, Magnemite's interest disappears. Meanwhile, Team Rocket tries to capture Pikachu with a powerful magnet. However, due to Pikachu's demagnetization, the magnet attracts Magnemite and Magneton instead, causing Team Rocket's submarine to sink. The group decides to leave the city, expressing hope that the city can be cleaned up and revitalized. Elsewhere, Professor Oak receives Ash's Pokeball containing Mook and is taken aback by the Pokémon's foul smell. Ash, Misty, and Brock hike through a mountainous region, heading towards the Fuchsia Gym. Meanwhile, Team Rocket relaxes, enjoying a picnic of sorts. Suddenly, an explosion shakes the entire mountain, and both groups decide to check out what happened. Upon arriving at the scene, they find a road with several trucks. Soon, the road breaks apart, causing accidents among the trucks. Ash, Misty, and Brock are shocked by the disaster, while Team Rocket laments the destruction. At that moment, Pikachu hears the sound of an underground Pokémon, the Diglett. Meowth deduces that the Diglett are responsible for the disaster. An engineer emerges from a truck and begins to complain that he can't take the Diglett anymore, as they are interfering with the construction of a dam. He says they created a special division to combat the Diglett and are looking for experienced Pokémon trainers to help. Upon hearing this, Ash volunteers for the job. While talking, Gary appears with a group of trainers and starts bragging about his abilities. The engineer interrupts the conversation and asks everyone to focus on the mission. Gary and the other trainers try to use their Pokémon against the Diglett, but all refuse to come out of their Pokeballs. The Diglett return the Pokeballs to the trainers, and not knowing what to do, they leave. At night, while taking a bath, Ash, Misty, and Brock wonder why the Pokémon didn't come out of their Pokeballs. Pikachu notices the presence of Diglett and the protagonists follow them. Meanwhile, Team Rocket plans to evolve their Pokémon. Jessie and James embrace Ekans and coughing, causing them to evolve into Arbok and Weezing. Ash, Misty, and Brock find the Diglett and Dugtrio planting trees in a forest area. They realize the importance of the Diglett and Dugtrio to nature and decide to protect them. The engineer, seeing the situation, cancels the construction of the dam. Suddenly, Team Rocket appears, ready to fight. Ash uses Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur, while Jessie and James use Arbok and Weezing. However, the Diglett and Dugtrio intervene and defeat Team Rocket's Pokémon. Team Rocket is blasted away and fails once again. After this adventure, the engineer learns an important lesson, and Ash, Misty, and Brock continue their journey towards the Fuchsia Gym, located beyond the mountains.